So, welcome for this extra class. Actually, this class is in lieu of Friday's class. So there will be no class on Friday. Okay, then only that takes place on 12 p.m. 12 to 1 p.m. Okay? So, but tomorrow will be the class at as per the schedule, right? Uh, Before coming on the lectures, I gave you the three problems, solved examples. Have you tried? Anybody have you tried that? Just after the lectures, okay, you go through the same LS Srinath book. Most of time I shall follow that content from the that books. Okay? And reason is that the why I give you the some problem so that you put some effort from your side just after the lectures. Okay? What has been covered, and if you solve the numerical problem, that will give you the better idea to understand the what I'm trying to teach you. Okay. So in last class we discussed that the how to determine the principal stress using the Cauchy that matrix, basically stress tensor. Okay. So you know that that is written in this form. Okay. So again I am reminding that the why I am putting the double bar because this is a matrix. Okay. And also you know that the sigma n, basically the sigma n basically is nothing but the tau dot. So you can replace here the sigma n, so it will give you that. And also you know that the t dot bar is equal to sigma n, okay, it is magnitude of tau s bar whole square. So you must know the equation, and using that we also try to find out the eigenvalue analysis of the that matrix in this form. Okay? And that was the sigma ij minus sigma, that matrix determinant of that sigma I, basically. So the I matrix is I is defined as the 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. You see, what is called the if the it is a 1 1, that is called identity, means the diagonal 1 1, that matrix basically. And also this is all related to the tensor mechanics. Of course I'll not go in much detail, but you should know that the how one can write the expressions in matrix form, how to write in the indices form. For example, you should know that the what is the delta ij. What is the delta? It's a significance of this is that the if one, if I is equal to j, 0 if I not equal to, right? So this is used for whenever you, so if the, so it is follow the dot product, basically the follow the, so one notation I am right now introducing, del ij, basically it is known as the Kronecker delta, basically there is also a delta Dirac function. Right now I will not discuss that is used basically in the dynamics, but in static problem like solid mechanics problem, it is a delta, Kronecker delta. It is known as the Kronecker delta, and you know the definitions. Sometimes it is the used this, not sometimes, most of times it is used in when we write the short form of the equations. Okay, but those equations always you can express in the form of the matrix. Okay, why I like so much the matrix? Because if you know the matrix, you can usually manipulate in MATLAB or other matrix based softwares. That's why matrix algebra is so popular, not only solid mechanics, also in other branches of engineering. These equations. Okay. In last class I discussed the so everyone understood how to determine the principal stresses and the corresponding directions. It is the eigenvalue analysis, just like you do the with respect to any other matrix, same thing here. The advantage of eigenvalue analysis is that you can directly find out what are the principal stresses. Principal stresses are basically the normal stress on a plane, but there will be no shear on that, right? Uh, Maximum shear stress is also shear, okay, is also a principal stress. On that there will be no normal stress, and in this way you can also identify. Suppose there is a plane, only the normal stress is given, there is no shear, so obviously that stress will be the principal stress, and vice versa. So remember that is what the short form.
Sir, principle of maximum shear stress can have normal stress.
No. uh,
So if our Mohr circle is not having center at 0, 0 at
yeah, it
any
can
point,
have, right. Yeah, it can have. When you draw the Mohr circle diagram, that yeah, in that question I encountered last when I was solid mechanics, it is possible when suppose that this circle is coinciding here, then don't know. But this Mohr circle is coinciding here, so obviously there will be here sigma and tau max. So here this will be the here corresponding the normal stress will also. In this case, Mohr circle is like this. Okay, that you have last question. One of the students raised this question.
yes, sir.
When tau max coincide the y-axis, then there will be no normal stress, obviously. But in this case, it will be. Okay, got answer your? Got? Have you understood? Do you think the normal stress is zero, even the tau max is maximum on this plane? Mohr circle I am talking. No, here this is the normal stress existing. Had been this tau max lying here along the y-axis, then obviously there will be no normal stress. Okay. So this is one application of Cauchy stress equation, that is fundamental. This is one, and now question arising that suppose this is the general. There is some background now noise. Please mute your. There is some background noise, and this is a sigma y, and this is basically uh, the tau xy. So this is called the plane stress element, because here there is no z related element in that. There is a plane. So obviously I started from the three-dimensional geometry, but I mentioned you that in elasticity, analytically solving the three-dimensional elasticity is difficult. So that's why the simplified models have been proposed in the form of plane stress or the plane strain. Okay? So this is a plane stress element. All stresses are in a plane. That's why it is called plane stress. So here the question is arising that the point is here. What will happen that if this on the same point this plane basically the rotates? How do you find that? Uh, Using the Cauchy stress equation. Suppose that now this has been rotated by some angles. Has been rotated by some angle theta. So how do you find that? One is that you draw the Mohr circle diagram. We'll discuss the Mohr circle, three-dimensional Mohr circle diagram. That is a geometrical representation of the stress, and also it is easy to calculate the stresses on a given plane, but same point. Okay. So how do you find that? One is technique is you draw the Mohr circle diagram. That I have not yet discussed. But I want to predict that what will be the stress on this plane, on an inclined plane theta from x-axis, that you can ask that what will be the normal stress or the shear stress on that plane, because that is the way we calculate using the Cauchy stress equation. So that is what I am going to discuss. Okay. So again from the this LS Renath book. Okay, so just make this sketch and try to understand. So this is a plane stress element, okay? And this is given you the in this sigma x, and this is given you the sigma y, right? This is given you the, and there is a one plane. So obviously this is a x-axis. So there is a one plane, and the normal of this plane is the n. You know that a plane is recognized by its normal. So you should know that the what is the direction cosine of the normal. Then you can use that plane in Cauchy stress equation. And once again you can revise that the how you suppose the equation, an equation of the plane is given you. So how to find out the its normal, the direction cosine of the normal. It is given in that Grewal book or any standard book you will find. If you go, even you can do the in Google search that if suppose some plane is given you the, so how to identify the or how to find out the direction cosine. In fact, this can be the one question. Okay. So this is, you want to find out that this angle is theta. Okay. So obviously the this plane is inclined. Just if me, yes, yes, you want to ask. Okay. So obviously, so there is one plane. Okay, so you have been given. Now that plane is rotated on the same point. Okay, so what will be the stress on that plane? That can be asked that the what will be the stresses along the x-axis, y-axis, what will be the shear stress, are the along the plane and perpendicular to the that plane, that is known as the tau s and sigma n. So that using the again Cauchy stress equation, it is very easy to estimate that. So how do you find that the make the, so here the you have been given you the shear stress also here, tau x. Remember that had been not given this shear stress tau xy, then obviously this sigma x and sigma y would have been the principal stresses. That's why it is called the general stress is given. Not only the normal stress is given, the shear stress is given. And the opposite is also correct. Suppose the sigma x and sigma y would not have been given only the tau xy, that is called the condition of the pure state. That is called pure shear. That we'll discuss again. Right? So that is a general two-dimensional stress, because most of time we'll discuss the two-dimensional stress. That is called plane stress. So that can be simplified further. So this is the x, and this is the normal of the plane. You know the normal of the plane, and this is inclined in anticlockwise the theta. So what will be the in this direction? That is a tau s, and what will be the sigma n. So you have to find out the on that inclined plane, what is the value of tau s and sigma y? You can, and also you may ask that the on that basically on the rotated plane, what will be the value of sigma x and sigma y? And you have been given the sigma x, sigma y, tau xy and different plane. That plane has now been rotated in anti-clockwise by theta, right? Then what will be? How do you find that? Right? Only what you have to find out the here the direction cosine of the that rotated plane you have to find. That's why I mentioned you that you should know that suppose a plane is given you, then how to find out the direction cosine. So in this case, obviously it will be the in this case obviously it will be the nx will be equal to cos theta, very easy to, and the ny will be the ny will be equal to sin theta, and nz will be the 0. So in vector form you can write like this: nxi, nyj, and nz. Obviously it is 0, so nxy. It is a two-dimensional universe, that's why the z is 0. So vector form always you can write. So our n is 1. Now what is the stress is given? How the Cauchy stress will that matrix will modify? This is a sigma x, tau xy, and tau xy you know that is equal to tau y. It is the same. You can also write the tau xy and sigma y. Okay. So because it is a two-dimensional, here there is no z elements here. So now you know that the sigma matrix, you know that the n vector, that is called normal vector. Okay. Then you can find out the what is the traction vector, which is basically the vector traction means vector curl. So again, we'll go the basic calculation to find out the. So you can easily identify. So our matrix will be the sigma x, tau xy, tau xy, okay, and the sigma y, and this will be uh, uh, the what will be the nx, cos theta, sin theta, okay, right, and it will give you the tx, okay, tx. So you can find out the tx will be equal to sigma x cos theta plus tau xy sin theta, right? And again, tau y you can give the sigma y sin. See the how that has been multiplied by sigma. This element has been multiplied sigma x, and this element has been, and again this will be the sigma y sin theta plus tau xy. Just it is expansion, you know that. This is horizontal and vertical. So it means that what you are doing that the stress is a second order, okay, rank matrix, okay, of course, and this is the vector. So it is converting another vector. It means that the 2 is now reducing 1 because of the dot product. Dot product always reduces the order of the tensor. For example, if it is a vector x and this is vector y, and that's why it is become scalar quantity, some scalar, because 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So dot product reduces the rank of that tensor quantity. Okay, so you got the tx and ty, and now you how to find out the sigma n. Sigma n, you know the expression for sigma n. What is the sigma n expression? That is the what is the Tx, you know that formula, that T percentage we call n, that. So it means that it will be that is what you do in order to find out the sigma. So here again you have to multiply by Tx that. So you understand how to find out the Tx and Ty? Same, we have done this analysis earlier. So you will get the sigma as, to do that you should get the sigma is equal to sigma x cos square theta plus sigma y sin square theta plus twice tau xy sin theta cos theta. What is it? Twice sin theta cos theta? What is it called the twice time? That is basically sin theta. Sin 2 theta is equal to twice sin theta, correct? So if you do that the multiplication, you know that the n in the vector form, then you should get the this. That is basically the normal component on that plane, rotated plane. Okay, and now you want to go the original, put the theta is equal to 0, you will get the original sigma x on that original plane. And also you know that how to find out the this sigma m square plus tau s square. This is nothing but, you know that this is the basically the t vector, this is the tau s, and this is the sigma, right? So that is right. So if you do calculation for the tau s, you you do the calculation for the tau x, then you should get as tau is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 do sine 2 theta and the minus tau xy cos 2 theta. Cos 2 theta. It will be minus or plus? Anybody can verify? Either if theta is equal to 0, I think it should be the positive. Right? So it is one of the applications. This formula could also be derived easily using the Mohr circle diagram. Okay, that you have been. I'm sure you might have been taught in strength of materials. Okay? Same formula could also be derived using this stress Cauchy stress sequences. Okay? So please practice this. So two-dimensional stress, as far as is concerned, you have been given the sigma x, tau xy, okay, tau xy, and sigma y. Okay, and now how to find out the principal stresses? You have to go the minus. You have to go minus sigma I. So that will be minus sigma and 1 0 0 1. Okay, so it will be converted in this form: sigma x minus sigma tau xy and sigma y minus sigma y minus sigma. Okay, so take the determinant of that. So that will give you the value of sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, so it means that you know that earlier we have done for the 3D. Now we are doing for the plane stress, that is 2 dimensions. So and you know that what is the standard equation for that. So you know that sigma 1 is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus minus. So generally I have told you that sigma 1 greater than sigma 2. You go the magnitude wise. Okay, that is called the okay. So here you have to take the sigma 1 maximum because it is a larger. So sigma x minus y 1 tau x 1, right? And minus and 2 will be the same thing. Here it will 2 will be the negative. And you know that in the Mohr circle, what is this value? And Mohr circle, what is the sigma x plus sigma y? And Mohr circle, what is it is the center of the and this
Center.
is
Center of
the
Radius.
C plus minus R. C plus minus R. So this is called plane stress analysis, but the Cauchy stress could be also used for the 3-dimensional analysis. But approach will be the same. The reason is that the 3-dimensional why we don't discuss much is that because it is sometimes practically it is difficult to solve analytically. You have to go the numerical, and in that the role of that finite difference and finite element comes into. If you have not taken that course and if you have interest in solid mechanics, you must opt that course, finite element, because as I mentioned you that at the end of this chapter, I'll show you that in general in 3-dimensional elasticity there are 15 unknowns, and we have 15 equations for that. Of course, I have discussed some of them already, form of this Cauchy stress equation, but in general there are 15 equations and 15 unknowns. Solving them analytically very, very difficult. That's why those problems are reduced in the plane stress or plane strain. But if you want to solve the 3-dimensional, you have to go to finite element analysis, and that is what the softwares like NCS and Abaqus or any other software does the job. Okay, and so I'll encourage you you must learn the finite element, if you want to understand this advanced solid mechanics or stress analysis. And just like here we are dealing the metrics, you will also dealing a lot of metrics in finite element. Right? And what is the tau max? That is the radius. That is called the, so tau max is, it can be shown that it is the radius. So that is the radius. So that is the nothing but sigma x minus sigma y by. Now, before coming further, actually now I'll discuss the Mohr circle diagram. Okay, that is a three-dimensional. Two-dimensional already you know that. I would like to discuss the three-dimensional Mohr circle diagram. Before coming on that, again we'll start the Cauchy stress. How it will take. So write the different conditions. Okay, first is that the what is called the note down that the pure tension or compression. In this case, how the Cauchy equation will look like? It means that the one dimension. It can be the one pure means that there is no any shear component. Yes. Then this will be in case of the one dimensional 0 0 0 0 0. This one. It can be the tension or the compression. So that's why it is called pure. Pure means there is no shear component. So it is simply simply that you are applying the sigma x. Now there is no, since on the plane where you are applying the sigma x, there is no shear stress. That's why it will be also equal to sigma. That is what the definition of the maximum principal stress. At principal stresses, there will no shear stress, and that is also correct for the maximum shear stress plane. Right? That is it. And second case is the no, because you note down that we need the when most of them will discuss the special cases. In that it comes biaxial. It is called the biaxial stress condition. In biaxial, what will happen that the only in this comes sigma x. Yes. Of course, you can write the or the sigma y. Here both come into the picture. Sigma x and sigma y both come. So what will be the here? So it will take the form of the sigma x, sigma y here. Okay, and other component will be the 0. Right. So again, it is what is the size of the matrix? 2 by 2, because the third row and columns are 0. Right. Obviously, if you go for the three-dimensional, then again here it will be sigma z will into the picture. So it is called the biaxial pure tension. Okay. Right. There is another third is okay. What is it called the tension compression biaxial. Tension compression biaxial. What do you mean by that? They are biaxial stresses, but one will be the negative. On one plane it will be the tension, another plane it will be the negative. That is called the tension. Then that has a significance. And fourth, you note down that that is called the pure shear. That is called the pure shear. Right? That is called the pure shear. In pure shear, what's happened? Only the shear will become. So there will no any components of the arm. So now the this component will be the 0. So this component will be the 0. So here the 0, but this come tau xy, right? And this will be the what will be the tau xz you can take, but we are dealing the two-dimensional, so you again you put here 0, and here again tau xy 0 0 0. Obviously, if you are going the jet components three-dimensional, then you have to consider the component of shear stress. So that is called the pure shear, because there is no tension, and that will represent the also the maximum shear plane of the maximum shear, where the magnitude of shear stress will be the maximum. And I am sure you must have done the Mohr circle diagram for these conditions. Mohr circle diagram. So you got the idea. So note down that there are many cases will come where we'll discuss the what will happen the problem and the pure tension. Okay, biaxial stress, tension, compression, and the pure shear. Okay, and these kind of the examples are generally taken in rubber elasticity. That is not part of course this course, but generally this type of cases are considered. One minute. Now we shall discuss the Mohr circle. We'll not go into details. Now there are many online softwares. Okay, just you plug in the value, you will get the two-dimensional Mohr circle diagram, three-dimensional diagram. That's why I want to bring in, and sometimes we'll discuss the, because Mohr circle diagram is easy to understand the stress state of stress, not only the two-dimensional, one-dimensional, also in the three-dimensional. That's why I want to bring the. So let us start. Basically, the Mohr circle diagram is a geometrical representation of the stress at point, because you know the stress is a point property, but that point should not be imagined as a spherical. That point should be considered a tiny cube. So that point should be considered like tiny cube in this part. Okay? So this is the basically the stress where we define that metric sigma ij comes into. So it should be considered as a cube. Point means that it's a cube. Of course, it is possible that there are many planes may go through along that points. Okay? So that's why we are interested in that what will happen if you rotate the plane. So what will the state of stresses on the different planes? And planes can be the thousands of them, infinite number of planes can be there, because it is a continuous. You can rotate by 360 degree, but point should not change. Point, because the stress is a point quantity. Here we are talking that it's the same point, but what will happen if you rotate that? Okay? And that is what also the Mohr circle diagram says. So there are two types of Mohr circle diagram drawn. Okay? Generally, I do the classification when you have been given the sigma x, sigma y, tau xy. Okay, and either you have been given the what is the sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma. Means one case is the general stress is given you. In another case, you have been given the principal stresses. Principal stresses. Okay. So there are two Mohr circle diagram. Of course, this one is the special case of this, but generally I classified in two. So if you see any standard book, you find that the Mohr circle diagram in two ways. One is the where the sigma x, or remember that the sigma x, sigma y can also become sigma 1, sigma 2, and you know that. Okay? But suppose the elements you have been given like this. This is a sigma x, this is a sigma y, and so in this case, obviously sigma x will be equal to sigma 1 and sigma y, because there is no shear. That is special case. But the most general case will be the most general case will be the when the shear stress also come into the pictures. As I mentioned in that the normal stress will come into the always in the single pair on the opposite faces, but shear stress will always be in the couple. In the one will act in the clockwise, another will work on the anti-clockwise. That's why it is shown on all four faces of this two-dimensional cube basically. Okay, so this is the special case, but generally I classify it. So what is the meaning of the Mohr circle diagram? So this is given the general stress. So it means that you have been given what you do that the Mohr circle diagram is here. This is the known as the it is basically the sigma. It is a sigma. This is a right. And how much degree here? 90 degree. But remember that when you are going from element to the Mohr circle, then angle becomes double. For example, you know that angle between the tau and sigma 45, right? But here it is how much? Remember that it is along the x-axis there is no shear stress. That's why it is also known as the plane of maximum principal stress. Here there is no shear stress, though it is a line, but it is imagined as a plane. Similarly, along the y-axis, there is no here the normal stress. That's why it is known as the plane of the or the line of tau max. And in general, sigma and tau max is always how much? 45 degree. But here it becomes a double. It means that suppose this element is rotated by theta, then how much you have to rotate here? By 2 theta. In that either clockwise or anti-clockwise, depending on how that element has been rotated. Right? So how do you find that? So what you have been given in the, you have been given here the sigma x on this face. What you have been given here, but here you have to follow the sign convention. So generally, what we follow that there are two direction of shear stress tau xy. If tau xy is anti-clockwise, then you should obviously take the negative. That's all. Anti-clock, then negative. Now, if you know, no, I want to take the positive. Obviously, you can take the anti-clock as a positive. Okay, that will not make the difference as far as final answers are concerned. Probably the okay, and the tau xy if it is the clockwise, then you have to take the positive. Right? Just 5-10 minutes, not more than okay, right? So you keep in the mind. But if you are not agree with this sign convention, just go opposite. No, I want to say that there are in many ways we will find that the clockwise shear stress is generally taken as the negative, okay, and the anti-clockwise is taken. Just like in rock mechanics, the normal stress is generally compression is taken as the positive, right, and the tension is taken negative, because in rock generally the material faces the compression, but in metals it is most of time it is a tension. Okay, compression is also possible. So here if it is a tension, normal tension, then we take the positive. Okay, and if it is a compression, then we take the negative. So put this is about I follow the sign convention. If you don't agree, you can interchange. Okay, but stick with one sign, right? Stick with one sign, then you will get the correct answer. Okay. However, as far as the rotation of this element is concerned, the stress element is concerned, if you are going clockwise, then you have to go the in clockwise direction. Okay, if you go anti-clockwise, then you have to go the anti-clockwise. Okay, only here we are doing for the stresses, sign convention for the stresses. Okay? So I am sure you must be knowing, but just I'll quickly I want to come the three-dimensional modes. So generally you've been given suppose the so what will happen that if you take this element sigma. So obviously tau xy, this will be the positive and this will be the sigma x. Okay. And this, suppose you take the compression sigma y, take them. So this is the A phase of the element and this is the B phase. So what will the coordinate of A? Anybody can tell me what will the coordinate of A on the basis of the sign convention? Since sigma x is the normal, so obviously you have to take the sigma. And the tau xy is in the clockwise. So you have to take the right. You can go the opposite also. And what will the B? B obviously it is a compression. Sigma y is in the compression given. So obviously this will be the, and it is given you the anti-clockwise. So obviously it will be the minus tau. Right. So we keep in the mind this sign. Now, so where A and B will come? So A will come where here the tau xy positive somewhere in A. So this is the point A. And B where can B where it will come B? If it is given like this, then B will come here somewhere B, depending on the, because all both are the. So how do you find out the center? So connect this point. Okay, connect, right? Somewhere it will cut the x-axis. So this will be the C, basically the center. And now make the circle passing through the A and B. Okay. So generally hand wash. So there is a, I'll send you after the class. I'll send you one online link. Just you give the value of x, y, and tau xy. That automatically it will generate the Mohr circle diagram. And in last semester, I found very convenient to understand the many problems. Okay. So that you can do easily, and that is not only you can do for the two-dimensional elasticity, also you can do for the three-dimensional elasticity. So after the class, I will send you one link where you can do this exercise. Here it may not be very. Just last point I will discuss in today's lecture. Suppose you have been given the sigma 1 sigma. Okay. Suppose you have been given the sigma 1 and sigma 2, right? So what will the Mohr circle diagram? Right? So that is what, or even you can get sigma 3. So for that you have to again follow the same. You know the x-axis is the line or the plane of the maximum. So suppose the sigma 1 greater than sigma 2 and both are positive. So obviously here there is no shear. Okay, because these are the principal stresses. Obviously there will be no shear on. These are the all sigma 1, sigma 2 are the principal stress. So obviously sigma 1 will come here and sigma 2 will come. Okay, and just you connect the. So how many circle is possible? So this will one, and this is the another one, and this is the another. So three circles are possible, and that has the significance of the. You can do also in the online. Remember that here you have been given the, because there is no, by seeing you can say that the sigma 1 is nothing but it is a principal stress, because on that plane there is no shear. Or this problem could be also given like this. This problem could also be given like this. Tau. So obviously here the tau only, there is no, so this is a plane of maximum shear stress. That is also basically the principal stress, but generally principal stress is stated for the sigma 1 and sigma 2, and we call the maximum shear stress. So in that case, what will be it? In that case, what will be the? So simply the, it has two signs. So one clockwise tau 0 and another will be the sorry. First one is the, what is it called? Normal stress. There is no 0. So this will be 0 tau and another will be the 0, because this first value is for the sigma. Sigma is not here. So if you draw the Mohr circle diagram for the, simply it will come here. Is a tau and minus tau. And this will give you the sigma 1 and sigma 2. Right? So tau and sigma are the 90 degree, but on the element it will be 45 degree. And angle between the sigma 1 sigma 2 on this Mohr circle is 180 degree, but in element it will be 90 degree. Okay, so that you can find out that. So more will discuss on this 3-dimensional. It is a 2-dimensional. Next class I will discuss the 3-dimensional. But I'll send you one link where you can not only generate the 3-dimensional Mohr circle, but also you can have the 2-dimensional. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Any other question you want to ask? If you have, you can send me the message on group, or you can send me the separately. And my mail ID, not for then you can find out the aksinghb@gmail. If you want to give me some feedback or anything, okay, you can send write me the mails. Okay, so tomorrow we'll discuss the 3-dimensional. Okay, and then in the meantime today I'll send you the a link where you practice for the Mohr circle, because Mohr circle diagram is very convenient to understand the not only the theory of elasticity but also it is used in plasticity. Okay, so see you. Any question? No. So see
No,
you
sir.
tomorrow at 11. Yeah, please. Any question?
No, sir.
So tomorrow, yeah. So tomorrow 11 o'clock we'll meet again. That will, and there will no class on Friday because I am today. I have taken. Okay.
Thank you, sir.